Hockey Town, it's a place where dreams are found. We fought so many battles here, now we're the ones that they will fear. The cup resides within our town, we won't stop no letting down. The cup is ours for all to drink, it's our time, let's rock this ring.
Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Hockey Town Rundown. You're here with me, your beautiful host, once again, Zack. Carlo-less today. That's okay. I know he was busy with helping out someone move today. We got a lot of Red Wings stuff that we have to cover today. We have 4 games, as you can tell by the scoreboard up there, against the New York Islanders, the Calgary Flames, the New Jersey Devils, and the Vancouver Canucks, which just happened today. I am recording on Sunday, 12/1. It is currently 6 p.m. So catching up after that game, going to go ahead and jump into those notes. We're also going to be talking about if the Red Wings should be calling up Sebastian Cossa due to Talbot being pulled midway through the game against the Canucks. We're going to go over some Red Wings news and then also cover around the league news. And just to kind of briefly cover the game notes, the Red Wings did play against the Islanders back on Monday night on the 25th, where the Red Wings did beat them 4-2. You did have Alex Lyon in that. It was Jonathan Berggren's 100th game, so congratulations to him. Patrick Kane was actually out all this week for all 4 games. Unclear really as to what it is, just some sort of injury. Unsure as to when he's going to come back. Seems like so far that the Red Wings do slightly miss him, slightly not. They were able to at least get 5 points out of the 4 games that they did play. So they're able to scrounge up some wins and get a few key points out of the matchups that they had. So, but continuing on with this game, Wings went 12 and a half minutes without a shot on net, and they whiffed on 2 that were essentially empty netters, being outshot 6-1 against the New York Islanders. Seider tips it or ties it up 1-1 on their second shot. The Red Wings are very selective on their shooting, as you can tell, and at least they're picking the correct shots to take, right? So that's great to see from Seider. You really don't get too many goals out of him. Would like to see more production out of him. Wings did spend most of their time in the PP in their own zone late in the second period with 2 really bad giveaways. The Islanders were already up 2-1 at that point, but Larkin then ties it back 2-2. Raymond takes the lead 3-2, and then Edvinsson with an empty netter 4-2. Some of the goods in this game: Seider, Edvinsson, just absolute dominance out there by those 2, the top pairing that the Detroit Red Wings have, where Seider was a +3, Edvinsson was a +2, and they each got 2 points. Alex Lyon stood on his head with 29 saves, a .935 save percentage. And then Larkin gets a goal, like we mentioned. That's 6 points in his last 5 games. And then dubs in the chat all around. That was a good win. The Red Wings seem to always find it late in the third period going up against the New York Islanders. Sorry, Matt, good old buddy. Miss you, dude. But moving along to the Calgary Flames game, you did have Cam Talbot in net. Lyon tweaked an injury in practice, so Husso was actually recalled as the backup. Alex DeBrincat starts off with the power play goal, which ends the Red Wings 0-10 streak on the power play. They were getting a little cold in the last 3 games, so glad to see that the Cat could get one up in there to get the boys going. 3 straight power plays in a row for the Wings in the first, though, and they were only able to convert on the one. I know the Red Wings are really high up there in the power play. I believe that they're actually 4th in the league for power play percentage, not counting after the game against the Vancouver Canucks, so pre that game. So that's great to see from them. But yeah, then you also have Lucas Raymond scoring the game-winning goal in overtime. That's his 6th career overtime goal, puts him at 8th in Detroit history. And actually, right before this recording, I saw something where only him and Cole Caulfield currently have 6 or more overtime winning goals with less than 300 career games played. So shout out to him. Congratulations, Lucas Raymond. That's awesome. And then both Alex DeBrincat and Raymond had 2 points that game. So, important 2 points. You walked out of there with the 2. Would have been satisfied with the 1, I guess, but you always want the 2, especially with a really hot competition over in the Eastern Conference. I mean, you look at it and everyone's within points. If the Red Wings win actually their next game upcoming on Tuesday against the Boston Bruins, and they would only be within 2 spots of a wild card spot. right? Bearing anything else changes. But moving along to the Devils game, Talbot in net for his 500th game. He is the 82nd goalie to ever do it and the second undrafted player goalie to hit that mark. Tarasenko does open up the scoring with a power play goal, 1-0. You did have Michael Rasmussen getting in a fight. Short-lived fight, but it was nonetheless a great fight. Love to see the boys get out there rough and rugged. Raymond wraparound goal. 2-0, 5-game goal streak for Razor, which is super fantastic. Glad to see that he's finally getting hot. There was a moment there where I think he was on pace for maybe like 8 goals for the season because of him not being able to put the puck in the net, but now he's starting to find the groove. Really can see Razor figuring it out and being able to get 30 goals somehow this season. Let me know down in the comments what you think about that, if that is something that he could accomplish. Lyon tries to challenge a goalie interference, but Talbot was out of the paint, and we then thus lose the challenge and were assessed a penalty and tie game because of that botched coaching challenge by Lyon. I'm not sure exactly what they were seeing, but based on the replay, it did not look like that the opposing player was in the goalie paint. So that primarily you could point out to saying that this is a good reason why the Red Wings lost within 1 goal, right? You could have gotten a tie, but the Red Wings, they were leading this game. Tyler Mott made it 3-2 in the second period with his first as a Red Wing. So congratulations to him. And then Justin Hall, the Red Wings were already down at this point. It was 5-3, and then Justin Hall makes it 5-4 in the third. And then, Red Wings lose 5-4 to the New Jersey Devils. The goods of this game: Tarasenko and Comfort, 2-point night each. Raymond, 5-game goal streak. The bads: Lyon's goalie interference challenge, and then the PK continues to be a sore spot. 3 goals against. 3 goals against. I believe they had 4 opportunities on there. I don't have it pulled up right in front of me. They really got to figure out this PK because they are dead last on the PK. We'll touch on that later on in this episode, but they really got to figure it out. So you can honestly say that the PK was the reason why that they lost this game, and because of the coaching challenge. The Red Wings really need to figure it out. If they could be 15th in PK, they might actually be in a wild card situation right now. Let me know down in the comments what you think about that. But moving along to the game today, for those who did not see it, Cam Talbot was a starter in net again. Still no Kaner, obviously. It is Fisher's 500th game, I believe I heard on there. So correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. But Jonathan Berggren scores his 4th of the season to open up the scoring for the Red Wings. Glad to see that the Red Wings are actually being the ones to start the goal scoring in these games. I felt like majority of the season we really weren't seeing too much of that, and they've always had to play catch-up hockey. So last 3 games, glad to see that that's happening. Canucks then go on a 5-on-3 in the second and take the 2-1 lead. Wings PK continues to suck. Yeah, I mean, 5-on-3, there's only so much you can do, but going 5-on-4, we already know that the PK is complete trash panda. The Red Wings just love to give the opposing team the puck and putting it in the back of the net. So not really too much on Talbot, but those were the 2 goals that he let in. Alex DeBrincat then ties it on the power play 2-2. Right after that, though, Talbot comes off and Husso comes in to replace him. Talbot did walk off with a lower body injury with 13 minutes left in the second. You then got Michael Rasmussen to score on the power play. Great power play, just sitting in front of the net. There was a coaching challenge by the Vancouver Canucks, which was a loss. So then the Red Wings were able to get back onto the power play. But right after the power play, you did have Tarasenko coming down with a rocket of a shot to take the lead, 4-3 Red Wings. And something about the Red Wings, I mean, same thing about with the New Jersey Devils. They have the lead. They're then forced to go into overtime. Well, obviously that's a little different than the game against the Devils, but they had the lead, lost it, went into a tie to go into overtime, and then Wings lose 5-4 in the OT due to Jake DeBrusk getting a hat trick. And then Quinn Hughes also broke the franchise record for the Vancouver Canucks for most assists by a defenseman, and he did it. I think it was Alex Edler that he beat, and he did it in 6.5 seasons less than he did. Quinn Hughes, you're a freak, dude. I really wish you were a Red Wing, and I know. Ken Holland presumably was not going to draft Quinn Hughes, and that even still hurts my soul, knowing that we could have drafted him and we weren't going to, even if Zadina wasn't on the board. It's so unfortunate, but yeah, who's a couple nitpicks. A lot of players ended up getting 2 points this game. Lucas Raymond, Jonathan Berggren, Dylan Larkin, and Marco Casper. But yeah, going over to goaltending really messed up this team. I mean, it's really not Talbot's fault or Husso's fault that he had to come in, but Husso 3 goals against on 18 shots and 833 goals against average. Talbot wasn't any better. I mean, he let in 2 goals on 14 shots, and he had an 857 goal or save percentage. Team PK 50%. They were 2 for 4 on stopping the power play. So this team, it seems that the continuation is that if the Red Wings just stopped getting penalized, then maybe they would be able to get more wins up on our scoreboard column. I mean, that easily could have been 4 wins for the Detroit Red Wings had they just not tripped players, not high stick them, not do anything to get calls against them. If the Red Wings somehow can create a recipe for that, then I do believe that the Red Wings could have an overall better season than what we're actually seeing and getting from them night in, night out. But I will say these last 4 games, I was thoroughly impressed. I thought the Red Wings, this is probably the best stretch of hockey that we have seen them play all season long. You can't doubt that. It's just immaculate, though, that the Red Wings are not in it, but they are still technically in it. You look at the standings for the Eastern Conference for the wild card, and the Red Wings right now, they do sit 8th with 23 points in 24 games. But if they win against the Boston Bruins, which hopefully they do because Boston's right ahead of them with 25 points in 25 games, then the Red Wings move up to just right under that second wild card spot, where it's currently being held by the Philadelphia Flyers with 27 points in 25 games. Who would have thought? Not me. It's just pretty astounding on how close of a race this is. I don't really know if I want to call the East trash or just everyone's just slightly mid. Maybe not trash, but I would say more on the mid side. The good teams are clearly in there. I mean, the Atlantic certainly has shifted so much. I mean, do you look at even the Tampa Bay Lightning? There are some games where they're getting kicked out of their games like 6-1 by like the Columbus Blue Jackets or whatever the score of that game was, and they sit pretty third with 26 points. That's only 3 points behind for the Detroit Red Wings. It is doable. Do I foresee that happening by the time that the season's over? I don't foresee the Red Wings being in a playoff spot, especially with now of the news that Cam Talbot is out due to a lower body injury. But what exactly does that mean? We have no answer so far from head coach Derek Lalonde on what the updated status is on Cam Talbot. And so that kind of raises the question, Red Wings to call up Sebastian Cossa? Just kind of going over some of that stuff. With Lyon being injured still, Talbot left with a lower body injury. You got Sebastian Cossa down there waiting in the Grand Rapids Griffins to make that first game in the NHL. Currently, Sebastian Cossa in the 13 games played, he has a 2.06 goal against average, a 929 save percentage, 8-4-1 record with 1 shutout. The Grand Rapids Griffins currently are playing. He is starting in net. Last time I checked the score, it was 6-3. I did take Cossa in the Sound the Horn with the Hockey Town West boys. Hope you guys were watching this, but love doing that bit with you guys. But before I go into this, let me know if you believe Sebastian Cossa should be called up if Cam Talbot is out long-ish term. I did put out that question on Twitter directly after the game on our accounts. And just to kind of look at that, out of 190 votes so far, 68% of the voters have said yes, that they would like to see Sebastian Cossa called up to the Detroit Red Wings. If you want to look at it from a calendar, like schedule standpoint, They play the Boston Bruins on Tuesday, December 3rd at 7 p.m. I would assume that you would put someone like Ville Husso in there. You then play the Ottawa Senators on Thursday, December 5th at 7 p.m. in Ottawa. That potentially could be a game that we could see Sebastian Cossa play in if he was to be called up. Now, the argument for a lot of people would be, well, you have Jack Campbell. Well, Jack Campbell has not played a single game yet this year. He just got out of the NHLPA assistance program. So he still needs to find his groove. We talked about that on the last episode with Carlo. Let him get his rhythm going. You also have Gylander down there. So it's the Griffins will be fine without a Sebastian Cossa. And I understand, and I have even said this, that I would like for Sebastian Cossa to just stay down there and keep doing his thing and maintain that number one role down there in Grand Rapids Griffins. But the Red Wings do need a bit of a shakeup. There's a little bit of mystery with Sebastian Cossa. You haven't really called him up for anything. He's never played an NHL game, and he's supposed to be somewhat of your goaltender of the future, hopefully with someone like Trey Augustine, right? If you're going to do it, now probably is the best time. The only other time I can think of that the Red Wings will have an opportunity to do this is closer to the trade deadline if they so choose to trade a goalie, which we actually will talk about the goalie market a little bit. But yeah, I really think now is the best time to call up someone like a Sebastian Cossa. And granted, I know that a lot of people are also saying there's no reason why we should be calling up a Sebastian Cossa to be playing against a team that is this bad on defense and even on the PK. I completely agree with you guys, but he honestly could be the difference maker for the Red Wings in those types of situations. You truly never know. I want him to be called up, but the logical side of me says it's probably not a good idea. However, if Talbot is out longish term, you have to do it. It's very unfortunate. It's either that or you bring up Jack Campbell, who has yet to play a game at all this year. Some people have even said, oh, you can bring up Gylander. I don't think that is primarily a good decision. I mean, the type of message that even sends the Cossa too, it's like, hey, we don't want you to get shelled out playing for the Detroit Red Wings, so we're just going to send Gylander and allow him to get shelled out. If that's your mindset on that, I just want you to kind of wipe that away for a second and just think about it from the perspective of, will this benefit Sebastian Cossa in the long run? The exposure will, for sure. And at some point, the Detroit Red Wings have to do that. And they have to address that at some point, primarily this season, I feel like, because there is an opening on that backup spot, if that's what you want to call it, for the Detroit Red Wings. Next season, they won't have an Alex Lyon. They won't have a Ville Husso. They'll only have a Cam Talbot. And so let's kind of go into the trade market now that we're on that subject, though. And it's very interesting because we did see that the Colorado Avalanche, and this was one of the, I'm just going to say the teams that I have listed here that should be in the market for a goalie right now are the Colorado Avalanche, the Carolina Hurricanes, the Edmonton Oilers, the Washington Capitals, and the Vegas Golden Knights. All these teams should be involved in trade talks to receive a goaltender. The Colorado Avalanche already started taking place with that. They traded with the Nashville Predators. The Predators acquired goaltender Eustace, I believe is his name, Anunin, and a 6th-round pick in the 2025 NHL draft from the Colorado Avalanche in exchange for goaltender Scott Wedgwood. Yeah, not the most exciting trade, obviously. And then you look at someone like Scott Wedgwood, who didn't really have the greatest season currently, right? But then you look at the Preds, they at least got a goaltender in exchange that's a little bit younger than Scott Wedgwood. And so that helps out the Preds. You know, they can keep on that guy, especially that they have Saros locked up for long term. This could be the guy for the backup for years to come for them. So he probably is locked in. I really don't know too much about this other guy, but Scott Wedgwood, I would imagine the Colorado Avalanche did this because they didn't want to go too much in depth on cost on a goalie. They probably didn't want anyone with term wanted someone with a little bit more experience like a Scott Wedgwood had. If Alex Lyon wasn't injured, could the Red Wings trade someone like Alex Lyon? I think that's their prime trade candidate going into the trade deadline if he's healthy. If not, it's going to be Patrick Kane if we can get him to waive his no trade clause, but I really don't foresee that happening. I know someone like Carlo thinks that is something that he could see Kane doing, but I really don't think so. But going back to the fact of the goaltenders, yeah, like the Canes, they keep on having goalie injuries. The Oilers, they just have always had bad goaltending, whatever their issue is. The Washington Capitals, same thing. Their goaltenders just can't really seem to be figuring out. And then the Golden Knights, Adin Hill, ever since that they won that Stanley Cup championship, down. What could the Red Wings do with these teams? I'm not exactly sure. But if you're trying to trade one of your goaltenders and talking about Alex Lyon, I really do think that a trade return could be somewhere around maybe getting like a prospect back, maybe getting a third along with it. You'll probably have to ship off maybe like a fifth. It would be something very similar to the Preds and the Avs trade. Obviously a little bit more involved, right? Because Alex Lyon is better than Scott Wedgwood overall, at least numbers wise. And you go back and look at the history as well. Maybe at most you can get a second for Alex Lyon. You would have to include something, I believe. But the Red Wings definitely are still in an asset return basis right now where they are looking to acquire. I don't think that they're looking to send out anything really. And that actually kind of takes me into no. But yeah, I was even asked today, like because of Talbot being injured, could the Red Wings trade for a goalie? Is there no one really on the market? The Red Wings aren't in a situation to trade for one when you still got Jack Campbell and you still have Alec or Sebastian Cossa that you could call up. So it goes back to the question: Red Wings to call up Sebastian Cossa? Yes, if Cam Talbot is out longish term. We could finally be seeing Sebastian Cossa getting his name on that wing wheel jersey, playing in a game at some point this upcoming week. Get excited, folks. Derek's prediction is finally coming underway. And so I do want to do a little bit of a November recap. The Red Wings did go 6-6-1 this month. They are fourth in power play percentage, which is 27.9%, 32nd in PK percentage, 66.2%. They are 25th in goals for per game at 2.57, and then 31st in shots on net at 572, and then 19th in shooting percentage, which is 10.3. So their shot, honestly, if the Red Wings just shot more, that shooting percentage is going to go up. Obviously, the shots on net is going to go up. If the Red Wings just shoot a little bit more, they are being very selective, obviously, with their shooting. Do they get every opportunity to shoot the puck on net? No, clearly, as you guys, the fans as well, can see at home, sitting down, watching on your couch, or even at the game or bar, wherever you watch the Red Wings at. But yeah, based on the way that October and November has gone, we looked at November, obviously at the beginning of November. The October scaries, the Halloween scaries got the Red Wings, and the sickness got them down in October. We were asking the question, will the Red Wings get over that sickness in November? They did, but they didn't at the same time. The same issues are arising with this team throughout the month of November. Going into December, it's only one day in. Anything can change, but if the Red Wings don't fix the PK situation and then the shooting situation overall, or even just defense, if Steve Yzerman doesn't trade for a defender, then I don't foresee this team being that much more over a 500 team. Does adding a Sebastian Cossa actually change that? No, I really don't believe so. But we've seen crazier things happen. We've seen other teams in the league call up their young goaltenders and then just completely light it up for them. Anything is possible. Am I expecting that? No. But I would like to know from you guys at home watching this video or listening to it, wherever you or how you view us or listen to us. Let me know in the comments, once again, if you believe Sebastian Cossa gets the call up, if he should be called up, or just your overall thoughts on the goaltender situation. Should the Red Wings entertain trading one of their goalies? I don't foresee Husso being traded. Cam Talbot, yes, he has term and he has a cheap contract, but you need someone to help out Sebastian Cossa. And looking at the goalie market going into the 25-26 season, I really don't believe that there is another goaltender out there like Cam Talbot to come in for a 1 to 2 year deal that's actually going to give you the production that Cam Talbot has provided for this team. So that's my overall thought. I think that there is going to be a Cossa call up. Once again, let me know what you think down in the comments about that. And so going into the Red Wings news, according to Greg Wyshynski, senior writer at ESPN, says that sources / rumors have started to circulate that Joel Quenneville might take over the bench in Detroit. And then quoted 2 weeks ago, I heard Quenneville to Detroit, end quote. Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about this. This would kind of be the number one guy on everyone's list now that Montgomery is with the St. Louis Blues. We talked about that last week on our episode, right? So yeah, I mean, if this truly is something that has been in the works with Steve Yzerman, Joel Quenneville, and I don't know, but in all of Red Wings history, they have never fired their head coach during the middle of the season, whether if that was in the beginning, in the middle, or towards the end. They've always let go of their coaches after the season. It's just one of those professional things, those white collar things that the Detroit Red Wings have always lived up to and stood by. They probably don't want to give that type of they probably don't want to do that to someone like Derek Lalonde, the embarrassment of it, of being canned midway through your season, being sacked, so they say in soccer. So moving along, 2023 6th-round pick, Detroit Red Wings goalie prospect Rudy Gaumond, I believe is how you pronounce it. I apologize if not, who left the USHL Cedar Rapids, will join the Moncton Wildcats and the QMJHL and will play for Yale and the NCAA next season. The reason for the signing? Apparently, one of their goalies had double hip surgery and might be the odd man out. The team is currently 18-4-2 when I put this in here, which was a couple days ago. So I apologize if this is not updated. For second in the league, or at least in their division. My apologies, not in the league. So Rudy is in a good spot for this Wildcats team. So hopefully he has a tremendous season. Good looks to him for getting a spot on a team and actually being able to get some playing time. So good looks and good luck to him. For around the league news, LeBron on insider trading. I will tell you right now, this is quoted, I will tell you right now, I think Mikko Rantanen believes he can make $14 million AAV on the open market. I tested this out on NHL 25, and yes, he would accept $14 million on the open market. In fact, he would accept $15 million on the open market. But in real life situation, if the cap goes up to what they're actually saying that it could go up, near $93 million, right around there, maybe 94. Someone like Mikko Rantanen, a big power forward type of player who plays on the left, certainly could get $14 million from a different club. Ultimately, though, I do believe that he will sign with the Colorado Avalanche, and that completely tears up my soul because obviously due to the Red Wings fan base and their opinions on the Colorado Avalanche due to all the fight nights at the Joe way back in the day. So, but we have a trade to announce. Trade details. The Columbus Blue Jackets trade David Jiricek and a 2025 5th-round pick to the Minnesota Wild, and the Columbus Blue Jackets in return receive defenseman Damon Hunt, a 2025 conditional 1st-round pick, a 26th 3rd-round pick, which belongs to the Avalanche, a 26th 4th-round pick that belongs to Toronto, and a 27 2nd-round pick. This is so tough for me to decipher who actually won. I really don't I'm lying. There's a winner here. I really do believe that Minnesota actually won this trade, but the return that the Columbus Blue Jackets got, it's not something to laugh about saying, oh, they got fleeced by Minnesota. No, not exactly at all. It was all out there. The Jiricek was unhappy. The Blue Jackets were looking to move him. Considering what they got, the Columbus Blue Jackets did a phenomenal job at getting the compensation for a top pairing defenseman in David Jiricek. And David Jiricek, he probably won't even be their top pairing defenseman. He'll be their second pairing defenseman, right behind someone like Brock Faber, which is absolutely insane. The Minnesota Wild are set up for success for the long term overall. The Columbus Blue Jackets continued to play out the longevity game with shipping off players, trying to keep some, acquiring assets, and keep being what they are. I really don't know what to say much about the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think the last time they were good was probably back when the Red Wings were good, and they could barely even get out of the first round if they ever did in the playoffs, if they even made it into the playoffs those few times. So, yeah, I can't believe Minnesota did it. And then, is this a trade that I would have liked to have seen the Red Wings made? Yeah, obviously, I think David Jiricek right behind a Moritz Seider would have been fantastic to have, but the Red Wings just simply are not in a position to ship off this type of return to acquire a player like this. I think we're still another year or two removed from seeing that. Steve Yzerman definitely wants to keep seeing his picks thrive and prosper through the prospect pool wherever they're playing at. Like, you look at players like ASP and MBN playing over at the SHL, they're continuing to grow. You're looking at Dmitry Buchelnikov. We talked about some of them last episode too. So you just got to be patient, right? I mean, that's exactly what it is. For someone like Minnesota, they're tired of being in that murky middle, kind of like how we were last season, and we were nervous. Are the Red Wings stuck in that murky middle? No, now we're kind of more in the lower mid tier of the swamp, so to say. So it's quite unfortunate. But yeah, that's wow, this was a fast episode. That's all I got for you guys today. If you haven't already, why don't you go ahead and hit the thumbs up button if you are new or returning. And if you haven't already, if you are new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That really does help Carlo and I out, trying to get our name out there. It really does help us grow our podcast. So we really do appreciate you guys doing that. If you are watching us or listening to us, actually, I should have said it that way, because you can watch us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But if you wouldn't be so kind, why don't you go ahead and rate us the 5 stars, hit the thumbs up button, whatever it is. I think it's the follow button. I'm kind of losing my train of thought now. It's Sunday Scaries. Got my lemonade right here with me, y'all. So, ooh, that was good. All right, y'all. I think that's it. We definitely appreciate y'all. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see y'all on the next one. See ya.